I think it was in probably about a year ago. I believe she gave a presentation to County Council about how Coastal Tide was working with a series of slides. So I don't even know if Mr. Whitehouse could access that, but there was a presentation that was made about the Coastal Tide apartments because it's the first Sussex County rental program.
Good evening. So, Brandy Norman, I'm joined by my colleague Taisha DuPont-Palmer, who handles the administration of the program on the day-to-day basis. So, basically, when an applicant, Your Place Property Management, Coastal Tide Apartments will receive direct referrals from the members of the public. We also receive calls at our office, and we direct them directly to Coastal Tide Apartments, where they specifically ask to be placed on the waiting list for the Sussex County rental program. So there are two, essentially the property manager keeps two waiting lists, one for the market rate units and one for the affordable rental units. And then as units become available, the property manager assesses each applicant for their eligibility. I don't know if you want to add anything.
There was initially like sort of a lottery, though, at the beginning.
Yes.
When this first opened up. I remember we
Yes,
talked
correct.
about
So in order to generate the initial waiting list, we conducted a lottery, which was a learning process for all of us. But we did that to just do the most fairest way to establish a waiting list. So we had folks, I think it was a 4 to 6 week period where people could call and apply online via a web form to become part of the lottery, at which point at the end of that we would randomly generate numbers to everyone, and then that was forwarded to the property management company, and they've been working down that ever since. And at this point the lottery list has been exhausted, so they've now just started an open waiting list. So anyone that calls will be put on a waiting list at this point.
And they're just taken in order as they call?
Based on family size, too, and sort of the unit size that is most applicable to the household.
Yeah, so the handout that I just gave to Mr. Whitehouse and Mr. Robertson, it kind of gives an overview of the bedroom sizes that are on the waiting list. So we have 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. At the time of the review, we had our first compliance review. I believe that's what we were just talking about on February 8th and 7th and 8th, 2022. We reviewed 14 tenant files, current tenants only. We had 1 rejected application because we wanted to see what they were being rejected for, as well as 1 move-out file. So we didn't find any non-compliance or anything. The 1 rejected application that they had, that was the only one that they actually had for me to review. They were denied because of unsatisfactory criminal and credit background checks. So right now we are currently, during the review, for the 14 files, there was 2 households at 30% area median income, 8 at 50%, and 4 at 80%. And the rents at the time of the review were $590 for the 1 bedroom, $705 for the 2 bedroom, and $815 for the 3 bedroom. So they've now increased based on the Sussex County income limits.
So the total, the aggregate of the Sussex County rental program, you say, is 2, 8, and 4, 2 at 30 currently. In other words, it would be 12. There's 14 units, is that right?
No, there's more than 14 units. There were 14 units at the time. We now currently have 18 households that we're serving.
Since the project is actively under construction, there were only 14.
Okay.
At the time
Okay,
of review.
18. So tell me about okay, so does 100% of the folks who want to rent there and who would be eligible for the Sussex County rental program, do they funnel through you or not necessarily?
No, we actually direct them to the property manager. She handles all of the eligibility.
So how does that work? How is there accountability? How do we know that the list that we were working off of yesterday is still in the file and it wasn't changed this morning?
So right now we have a running list. So Brandy, when I came on, she had a list of all of the applicants from the lottery. So I used that when I did my compliance review, just to ensure that those people that had applied for the lottery and had funneled through the lottery were the actual tenants that moved in to the property.
So the lottery, how was that? That was like advertised? Like, how does this process work? There's an advertisement?
Yes, when we opened the lottery, and again, that was just the initial way to sort of create a waiting list. It was advertised. Linda and her team took advertisements and flyers to all of the area employment centers, BB, Cape Henlopen School District, all the various employment centers in the nearby area, as well as advertised it on social media. We had press releases here, and so we had a great response. I want to say there's over 100 initial applicants to the lottery, and so they've gone through that and are now just accepting applications. I will also say that Taisha, the property manager, sends monthly reports every month to Taisha. She reviews that and kind of checks it from the month prior just to make sure that everything makes sense and flows. And so then during her annual review, all of that just kind of falls into place pretty easily.
So when were the 100 applicants, when did the initial application process begin?
So I want to say we opened it in December of 2019. 2020. Sorry, I'm blanking on the, yes, 2020. Pandemic has ruined my sense of time. Sorry. So yes, December of 2020, and then we had that open for about 6 weeks, and so, and actually that was started before the first units were even completed with construction. So,
and you're saying, of those 100 applicants, how many of those, and you've gone down through the whole list, is what I understand you saying, how many of those ended up obtaining one of the rental units?
18. Yeah,
Yeah,
roughly
the
about
18,
that many.
yeah.
And so when you say you've exhausted the list of the 82 that remained,
Right.
they found something else, or?
So we do have all of that's been documented with the property manager, but for numerous reasons, there's no call, no shows. When the property manager scheduled appointments, they found alternative housing. They didn't qualify based on income, background, criminal history, all various things. And so the lottery didn't assess any of that. It was just like, if you want to be a part of this program, fill out this application. So, anyone sort of joined that. And then we had to really filter out who was a qualified applicant after that.
It's interesting. It's just surprising that so few people even applied.
I know.
So right now, when we have applicants possibly call, because we have people call in on a daily basis for housing. So what I normally do is refer them to Coastal Tide, give them the contact number, address, and just advise them to pick up an application, speak with the property manager, let them know you're interested in our program, and I usually keep a running list. So, for instance, we had a lady call in, I believe, last week for housing, and when I spoke with the property manager, I advised her of that, and she told me that she did come in. So I actually have a property folder that I'm building where I keep a running list of applicants that, potential applicants or potential tenants that we're referring to the property.
I think there's about 35 individuals on the waiting list right now for our rental program units.
Yeah, we have, if you look on.
For that particular location, or is that the only
Yes.
one we have?
Yep, that's the
That's
only one we
have
have
right now. So if you look at the bottom half of the form, you'll see the current SCRP waiting list numbers as of today. First page, current Sussex County rental program.
1 bedroom,
waiting list
19,
numbers, yeah.
2 bedroom, 7, 3 bedroom, 6.
And then they've had 10 applicants that they denied since the process began, and they have either been denied for unsatisfactory criminal and credit background, over income, or below income.
Or not living and working in Sussex County, right?
Right.
And just for the benefit of the commission, all these requirements that we're talking about, as I think Mr. Hutt mentioned, the Chapter 72 requires that agreement that spells all this stuff out to be recorded in the recorder of deeds. So it's part of the original conditional use approval and spelled out in more detail what they have to do, not only in the Sussex County Code, but also in a recorded document with recorded deeds.
That's it's very interesting that like even currently, you have so few that are waiting, but maybe, so.
Just
How
the
long?
people who have called Mr. Hopkins. That doesn't mean there's not more people out there. It
Oh,
just
I-
means that this is the
I
one that's,
know.
these are the ones that have.
50% of
yeah.
Sussex County
There's a
falls
lot,
in-
yeah, there's a lot
falls
of
in this
people who just
category.
don't know where to
That's
go.
why
at
I'm
all.
so
yeah.
shocked.
Yeah.
So is it because it takes so long, once the inventory has been filled, these 18 spots, what's the attrition, or what's the rate of, if you get in, how long, what do you call it?
I don't know that we really have data on that yet. I mean, everyone signs a year lease, and as long as they remain income qualified, they will continue, and that they're in good standing with the property manager. You know, that's.
So do you think that plays into it, if people know that, generally speaking, once a renter meets the qualification and gets in, it's the prize of their life, right? It would be for me. Then I'm going to make it, that's going to be my top priority, to make sure that I march to the drum beat and don't, so maybe, is that why you think that, but you did exhaust the 100. That's what's, it's almost mind-boggling to me.
It is.
Okay.
But sorry, I don't want to hijack the.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, that was helpful.
Is that it? Finished, Mr. Hopkins?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.